Have you ever felt mentally exhausted even before your day truly begins? As if your mind is carrying a weight that you can't quite name? This invisible load is more common than we think. It's not about having too much to do, it's about the silent patterns of thought we carry with us, day in and day out. These mental habits don't scream for attention. They don't show up in to-do lists or calendars. But they're always there, whispering doubts, fueling worries, replaying regrets. Slowly, they drain our energy, cloud our clarity, and disconnect us from the peace we long for. This video isn't just about recognizing those patterns. It's about gently releasing them. Because to live lightly isn't to escape life's challenges, it's to stop carrying what no longer serves you. Let's explore the 10 mental habits you can begin to let go of, quietly and with compassion. Letting go begins with understanding. Mental overload isn't always loud or obvious. It doesn't always come from stress at work or the chaos of daily life. More often, it stems from the quiet habits of the mind, habits we've picked up over the years unknowingly. They build up, one thought at a time, until they form a kind of psychological clutter. We get used to this mental noise. It becomes the background hum of our lives. But just like a computer running too many tabs, our minds begin to lag, slow down, freeze. We become less present, more reactive. We feel overwhelmed, but we can't quite explain why. That's because many of these habits are subtle. They don't scream, they whisper. They blend in with our internal dialogue so well that we mistake them for truth. But what if you could begin to notice them? What if you could identify these patterns one by one and release them quietly, without drama, without guilt? That's where true freedom begins. And to help you on that path, we'll now explore the first of 10 silent mental habits that may be weighing you down without you even knowing. One of the most subtle yet corrosive mental habits is constant comparison. It begins innocently, scrolling through social media, hearing about a friend's success, noticing someone else's confidence. And before we realize it, we're measuring our own worth against someone else's highlight reel. Comparison creates a quiet discontent. It tells us we're not enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, not happy enough. It fuels self-doubt and robs us of our ability to appreciate where we are and who we are. But here's the truth. Your journey is not supposed to look like anyone else's. Your timing, your growth, your path, it's yours alone. When you constantly compare, you silence your own voice. You ignore your own strengths. Letting go of this habit doesn't mean you stop being inspired by others. It means you stop using others as a measure of your value. Begin by noticing when the comparison starts. Gently bring your attention back to your own life. Celebrate your progress, however small. That's where lightness begins. And as we move forward, let's uncover the next mental habit that quietly drains your energy, often disguised as something noble. While comparison quietly undermines our self-worth, guilt anchors us to the past. It often wears the mask of responsibility, making it seem like we're simply being conscientious. But persistent guilt, the kind that lingers long after an apology, a lesson, or even a change in behavior, doesn't help us grow. It holds us hostage. This kind of guilt plays on repeat. It brings back old mistakes, missed opportunities, words we wish we hadn't said. And with each mental replay, we reinforce the belief that we are somehow broken or undeserving of peace. But guilt, when it has served its purpose, must be released. It's meant to alert us, not define us. Carrying it endlessly is like keeping an alarm ringing long after we've already woken up. The first step to letting go is acknowledging that growth doesn't require punishment. You can be aware of past mistakes and still treat yourself with compassion. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is a radical act of healing. Now, let's move into another silent habit. One that disguises itself as ambition but often leads to exhaustion. If guilt keeps us stuck in the past, unchecked self-demand keeps us trapped in an endless race toward an unreachable future. It's the voice that whispers, "You should be doing more. You should be better. You're not quite there yet." At first glance, it seems like ambition. But left unchecked, it becomes a burden. This mental habit thrives on the illusion that perfection is possible and necessary. It tells us that rest is laziness, that mistakes are failures, and that good enough is never actually good enough. Over time, we internalize this pressure until we no longer know how to pause without guilt. But true growth doesn't happen under constant self-criticism. It flourishes with encouragement, patience, and self-trust. Letting go of perfectionism doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you start honoring your limits and progress. Begin with small acts of kindness toward yourself. Allowing rest, celebrating effort, forgiving imperfection. Lightness comes not from doing more, but from releasing the need to be more than you already are. Now let's explore the next mental habit, one rooted in fear and control, often masquerading as responsibility. Perfectionism often walks hand in hand with the need to control. When we feel we must do everything perfectly, it naturally follows that we try to control every outcome, every detail, every person around us. It gives a false sense of safety, a feeling that if we can just hold everything together, nothing will fall apart. But control is an illusion, and trying to maintain it at all times leads to anxiety, tension, and deep mental fatigue. We begin to resist the natural flow of life, fearing change, uncertainty, and vulnerability. Letting go of this habit doesn't mean becoming passive. It means shifting from force to trust. It's the quiet choice to respond instead of react, to influence rather than dominate, to allow instead of resist. You can begin with this simple reminder: not everything is yours to fix, manage, or understand right now. Some things are meant to unfold, not be forced. As we continue, we'll look at another mental habit that seems kind and generous on the surface, but often comes at the cost of your inner peace. Where control leaves off, people-pleasing often begins. It's a habit shaped by fear, the fear of rejection, conflict, or disappointing others. At its core, the fear of displeasing is not just about being kind. It's about sacrificing your own needs for approval, often silently and habitually. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you feel tired. You avoid expressing your true thoughts to keep the peace. And slowly you lose connection with your own truth. You start living for others' comfort instead of your own authenticity. But here's the truth: your worth isn't tied to how many people you keep happy. Saying no doesn't make you unkind, it makes you honest. Disagreeing doesn't make you difficult, it makes you real. Releasing this habit means setting gentle boundaries. It means trusting that those who truly value you will respect your truth. Lightness comes from alignment, not constant approval. Next, let's explore a habit that may seem harmless, but reveals how disconnected we can become from ourselves: the habit of avoiding silence. When we live in a constant state of pleasing others, we rarely stop to ask ourselves what we truly want. And often, the moment things go quiet, discomfort arises. That's because silence forces us to listen to the thoughts we've been avoiding, the emotions we've buried, the truths we've postponed. Many of us fill every moment with noise, podcasts, social media, background TV, not because we're curious but because we're escaping. Silence feels unfamiliar, even threatening. But in reality, silence is where clarity begins. It's in the quiet moments that we reconnect with our intuition, our needs, our peace. Avoiding silence is a habit born of fear, the fear of what we might feel when the distractions fall away. But embracing silence is a courageous act. It creates space for healing and honest reflection. Start with small moments: a quiet morning without your phone, a walk without headphones, a few deep breaths before bed. Allow yourself to simply be. You don't need to fill every space. Some spaces are meant to hold stillness. Let's now uncover the next habit, one that imagines the worst and often keeps us stuck in anxiety before anything has even happened. Silence can bring awareness, but what we do with that awareness matters. For many, the quiet mind quickly fills with worst-case scenarios. What if I fail? What if something goes wrong? What if I'm not prepared? This is catastrophic thinking, and it's one of the most mentally draining habits we carry. It's the mind's attempt to prepare for danger by imagining every possible negative outcome. But instead of keeping us safe, it often paralyzes us. It feeds anxiety, reduces resilience, and makes even small decisions feel overwhelming. Catastrophic thinking convinces us that something bad is always around the corner. But what if, instead of anticipating disaster, we allowed room for possibility? What if we trained the mind to ask, what if things actually work out? To release this habit, practice noticing when your mind spirals into fear. Pause. Ground yourself in the present. Ask, what's true right now? Most of the time, the present moment is manageable, even peaceful. Coming up, we'll explore another habit that loops endlessly, offering no solutions, only repetition. Catastrophic thinking projects fear into the future. Rumination, on the other hand, traps us in the past and present, repeating the same thoughts over and over like a record stuck on a single track. Why did I say that? What could I have done differently? What if I had made another choice? It feels like problem solving, but it's not. Rumination doesn't seek resolution. It seeks control. It gives the illusion of productivity while actually exhausting the mind. The more we ruminate, the more entrenched our thoughts become, and the less space we have for clarity or creativity. Letting go of this habit begins with awareness. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow? Or am I just replaying it out of habit? Journaling can be a powerful tool here. It gives your thoughts a place to land instead of spinning endlessly in your head. Mindfulness also helps. When you catch yourself ruminating, gently redirect your focus to your breath, your body, your surroundings. Choose presence over repetition. Next, let's shift to a deeper form of neglect, the kind that happens not through harsh words, but through a lack of kindness toward ourselves. When we ruminate, we often do so with a harsh inner voice, a critic that judges every decision, every flaw, every feeling. Over time, this voice becomes so familiar that we barely notice it. But its impact is profound. It chips away at our confidence, our joy, and our ability to feel safe within ourselves. A lack of self-compassion isn't always obvious. It hides in subtle moments, brushing off our own pain, minimizing our achievements, being patient with others but unforgiving with ourselves. And it creates a deep internal tension, one where we're always striving but never satisfied. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It's the foundation of emotional resilience. It means speaking to yourself as you would to a friend, with kindness, patience, and understanding. It means giving yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes, to feel deeply, to rest. Begin by noticing your self-talk. Would you say those same words to someone you love? If not, don't say them to yourself. The more compassion you show inward, the lighter life begins to feel. Now, let's move into the final mental habit, one that holds us in yesterday and keeps us from fully living today. Lack of self-compassion often roots itself in the past, anchored to old stories, unresolved pain, or identities we've outgrown. This final habit, attachment to the past, can be one of the heaviest burdens we carry. It keeps us reliving what's already over, replaying conversations, regrets, or lost opportunities. The past has value. It teaches, shapes, and informs. But it's not meant to define us forever. When we hold too tightly to what was, we lose sight of what is. We resist growth, delay healing, and rob ourselves of presence. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the emotional grip that keeps us stuck. It means honoring the past without letting it lead. It's gently telling yourself, that moment mattered, but I don't have to live there anymore. Practice gratitude for the lessons and bring your focus back to now. Lightness begins where acceptance lives, not in rewriting history but in choosing peace over permanence. Now that we've uncovered these 10 silent habits, it's time to gather the wisdom we've explored and look ahead, toward clarity, calm, and freedom. Each of these habits, though quiet, subtle, even invisible, can weigh heavily on the soul. Together, they create a mental fog that clouds clarity, joy, and presence. But now you've seen them. Name them. And with awareness comes power. Letting go doesn't happen all at once. It's not a dramatic act, it's a gentle process. A daily, silent choice to loosen the grip, to breathe, to soften, to remember that you are not your thoughts, your fears, or your past patterns. This journey isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you've always been, underneath the noise, beneath the burden, beyond the weight. Lightness is not the absence of struggle. It's the presence of space within you. As we approach the final moments of this reflection, let's gather these insights and carry forward only what truly supports your peace. What would it feel like to live with less mental noise? To wake up and not carry the invisible weight of judgment, regret, or fear? Lightness is not found in escaping life, but in learning how to carry it differently. You don't need to fix everything to feel free. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought to find peace. You only need to begin, gently, quietly, with one habit. Let go of the need to rush. Trust that release is a process, not a performance. Give yourself the permission to feel joy without guilt, to rest without shame, and to speak to yourself with kindness. You deserve that peace, not because you've earned it, but because it's already yours to claim. If this journey resonated with you, share it with someone you care about. Be a reminder of lightness in a world that often feels heavy.